Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar, Form 5, Transition to Paperless via myLDR. My name is Etna Johnson, and I will be the moderator for today's session. Let me introduce our speakers. David is the product manager for myLDR. He brings a wealth of knowledge about the needs of LandR clients and how myLDR can be used to support those needs. Emily is a product owner for LandR, focusing on helping customers get the most out of myLDR. She also has deep knowledge and experience guiding our customers through using Form 5s and other dose reports. With that, I'd like to turn it over to David and Emily. Thank you both.
Thank you, Edna. And thanks everyone for joining. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you're coming from. And we are excited to share with you some functionality from myLDR that we think will make your life a little bit easier. And specifically, we're going to be addressing Form 5. So a lot of our customers process annual Form 5 reports beginning in March, and we want to make sure that everyone's aware of a lot of the new functionality in myLDR that can make that process much easier. If you're not familiar with the Form 5 report, the Form 5 report is a report that LandR provides, and it supports the National Regulatory Commission's requirement for dose reports for your participants and having the ability to basically share that dose information with your participants. Now, you may be obligated under the regulatory requirements to provide these to all or at least some of your participants, and I would recommend to refer to your local and state requirements for the details around that. The Form 5 report can be available and generated on an annual basis, so that gives you an annual dose report as well as lifetime dose report. And it can also be provided on a quarterly basis and often is used and generated on termination. So when an employee leaves employment and you need to generate that report for their dose history, it's a great tool for that as well. Now, as we speak with our customers and kind of understand some of the challenges they have in the day-to-day processing of Form 5s and just dosimetry and radiation protection in general, we heard a lot of customers explaining to us how they process their Form 5s today. It's either they're pulling these reports from myLDR, downloading them, reviewing them. Some are printing them in paper format and then signing them. Others are putting these into a PDF editor and signing them, and then archiving them. Sometimes happens in a 3-ring binder as well as maybe a file, PDF file format. But what became very clear is that it was a broken process, meaning that it wasn't fully electronic process. It was partially electronic, partially manual, and still relying in many cases on paper. And so it came very loud and clear from our customers. There was a desire to have a fully electronic method to do the annual Form 5s. What we're going to cover today then is several different methods, really to fit however you choose to work. First, we're going to cover just the basics. How do you find your Form 5s in myLDR? We'll show you how to filter, sort, and find those easily in the report section. Secondly, we'll cover what's really aligned to supporting any traditional process you might have for downloading these. If you choose to add them to an email or print them, we'll make it very simple and clear how you can do that using myLDR today. Then we'll transition into some of the new functionalities. So looking at a digital process using our individual dose review portal. The IDR is an online portal for your participants who can log in and view their dose. We're going to walk you through the basics of turning that on and getting your participants loaded up to utilize it. So no more requirements to actually put these into your own email client and add attachments. You can just send everything through the IDR using myLDR. And then finally, we'll talk about the signature suite, the advanced capabilities for electronic signature that allows you to add a digital signature right to the Form 5 reports and other reports. And let's jump right into it. I'm going to have Emily now kind of walk us through the first section here on how to find your Form 5s.
Thank you, David. So like David said, we're going to start with just the basics, how to find Form 5s in myLDR. So the first thing you want to do is indicated by that number 1 in the image is click on the reports option from the left-hand menu. When the report screen opens, you'll see what the report tab, just like you can see it here. It will open with the report type, which is indicated by number 2 of all reports. So the first thing you want to do is limit that down to just the Form 5 annual, assuming that's the report you're looking for now. So if you drop that down, deselect all reports, then you can click on Form 5 annual. And then you can close that selection box. And as soon as you do that, you'll see that the grid below is refreshed to show all of the Form 5s that you have that have been created in the last 90 days. And that because assuming that you're going to grab these reports pretty soon after the reports are generated, that's going to be the simplest way to find the most recently created Form 5s for your account. Okay, next slide. So from here, if you want to get some reports to be able to download for email or printing, these are the steps. So the first thing is over on the left side, you can select the tick box to the left of the report name. So you can see by that number 3 dot, you can see the Form 5 for participant with the last name of King, for participant with the last name of Epen, and also for Pan. Those 3 reports have been selected. You can also use the tick box at the header of the grid. Right now you can see it's beside the report title, and right now it's got a box with a minus sign. If you select that, it'll select all of the reports that are in that window and even past the window. So all the reports that have been displayed, no matter how many there are, even if you have more than one screen, it'll select all of the reports. From there, if you see that number 4 dot on the right side, you can click on the download button. Again, this is just a simple process to download these reports to be able to email or print them if you want to go with that more traditional method. So for number 4, you click on download, and you can see beside the number 5 dot, you can see all the different download options. So you can download them as individual reports. You can also zip the reports by account or by sub-account. So what that means is that when you go grab the reports, they'll be in one folder, but in subfolders based on each account or by each sub-account. That's really handy if you want to be able to just look at them in a grouping by that designation, by account or by sub-account. Makes it really easy to go and just navigate them kind of group by group if that's the way you think about your Form 5s. If you're doing this also for a wider breadth of reports, maybe not for Form 5, but other reports, you can also do zip by month, or you can make one really big combined PDF for all of the reports that you've selected. If you're going to print all of your reports, the combined PDF is a nice method because you can just make one big PDF, and then you can print that one large PDF, and then all the printing steps will be completed. So that makes it really, really easy to print in one go. On the next slide, so for here, this will conclude if you want to print an email, it's just those quick steps. From here, it'll show you in the File Explorer, this is where the reports will go when you've downloaded them. So if you click on your downloads folder, you can also choose it from the corner of your browser if that's where your downloads are shown as well. And you can see it'll show myLDR downloaded reports, and it will divide them based on how you've downloaded them. This particular view is showing the individual PDFs, and you can see it's divided by the Form 5A, that's Form 5 annual, then it shows the account number, sub-account number, participant number, and the year, and then the date time it was created. So that shows you the individual files. And then you can choose to either print or email the reports from here. Now we're going to move to the digital process. So these are the steps that you can do to set up and use our IDR portal. Like David mentioned, the IDR is the individual dose review. This is where your individual participants can come to grab their reports, see their dose values. So we're going to walk you through the steps here. This IDR process is complimentary, so you're able to access this right away without signing up for anything additional. So the IDR allows you to notify participants, and then the participants, once in IDR, can access all their data on a 24/7 basis. And they also can retrieve reports at any time, which is very helpful if they need to go back and retrieve a report later. IDR also allows you as RSO to track when the participants have last logged into IDR. And we're going to go through all of that now. So the first step is how to add IDR access for a single participant. So if you click on the participant from the participants menu, you'll come to the the view and edit participants. So once you're in edit mode, if you go down to the individual dose review access section, in the IDR access, you can click on yes, that will give them access to IDR. And then by the number 3 dot, just make sure to add their email address. The preferred method is to add their personal email address. And the reason for that is because then even if the participant is employed under multiple employers, within IDR, if they use that same personal email address, they'll be able to see information across multiple employers without changing their method of access. We think of it kind of like benefit information, where even though it's provided by the employer, it really is employee data. And that's why we think it should be linked to the participant's personal email address so they can retrieve it that way. This next page shows you how to add IDR access for a bulk set of participants. So from the participant screen, the main participant screen, in the top header section all the way to the right, you can see this by the red dot number 1, is the Manage IDR Access button. So if you click on that Manage IDR Access, it brings you to the lower visual, which is the participant maintenance for IDR, that screen. From the screen, you can see all of your participants. You can see, you can filter it by account. You can also see if they have an email address linked and if they have IDR access or not. And right within this screen, you're able to make edits to those fields. So you can add their email address, and you can also toggle that IDR access left and right to turn it on and off. And then as soon as you make that, you can see that little green checkbox with the smiley face by it. That shows that they have been fully updated and they're ready to go. So by doing that individually, it's really simple to make those changes on that screen. On this screen also, right above the smiley face, there's a button for import emails, and that's also a method that you can use. It's a very simple way to upload a set of email addresses for the participants. So instead of doing this one by one on the screen, you can upload those as well. And here's how you would do that. So here on step number 1, you're still on that same participant maintenance screen. And number 2 is showing the click import emails, where you can follow those simple instructions. It's really very easy. Just participant first name, last name, and email address. And the directions are right there on the screen for you. And then back to the reports page, just want to show you what you're able to view while you're back in myLDR portal. So as we look here, now that the participants have already been set up in IDR, now you can go ahead and publish those reports. So back in the myLDR portal, back on the report screen, just where we were before, we showed how to click on the download button, but the process for publishing is actually very similar. So the first thing you want to do is put a check mark to the left of the Form 5 title, and then up in the number 2 button, you can click on the Publish button, and then that will publish it to the IDR screen. And then by the number 3, you can see what the status is in IDR for the report, if it has been published, not published, or if it's been viewed by the participant. Next, this is the email notification that the participant will receive and indicates that there's new data or reports available on IDR, and they'll be able to click on a Go to IDR button to access that data. And once on the IDR portal, this is what the participant will see. So by the red dots number 1, you can see some basic information about the dose values, a little bit of education, breakdown of the dose. And by number 2, you can see at the bottom of the screen where they will be able to view their reports. And here you can see the Form 4s and Form 5s. It's a little small, but you'll be able to see any report that's been published to IDR, the participant will be able to retrieve from IDR. And that's very handy for them to be able to access that data. And also we want to be able to show you what you'll be able to see as far as when the participant accessed this data. So when you click on the participant screen, over on the right side, if you click on Manage Columns and then scroll to the middle, you can select those IDR access fields where you can see IDR access, their email address, and then that last column that you can see on the right, labeled number 4, is the last IDR login date that they had. So that really helps you to see when was the last time that they peeked into IDR and if they had a chance to see their reports or their latest data. All right, now we've got a poll question for you. Edna, would you be able to pull it up?
Absolutely. And that poll question has been launched. And the question is, how many hours did your team spend preparing and sending annual Form 5 reports last year? Was it less than 10 hours, 11 to 20 hours, 21 through 60 hours, more than 60 hours, or perhaps I didn't distribute Form 5s last year? So we're going to continue to give the audience about another 30 seconds to enter their responses, because I know we have quite some additional information we would like to share, and then we'll get into the Q&A session. It appears that we are getting a lot of questions, so please proceed to enter your questions in the questions panel, and we will try to get to as many as possible. All righty, so we're going to go ahead and close the poll, and I'll share the results. Now let's see. 42% of the audience indicated less than 10 hours. 25% of the audience indicated 11 through 20 hours. 10% of the audience indicated 21 through 60 hours. 8% of the audience more than 60 hours, and 14% indicated I didn't distribute Form 5s last year. So thanks everyone for your participating in our poll question.
Yeah, thanks very much, everyone. Next, we're going to walk through some of the advanced functionality using the signature suite that was introduced in myLDR in September this last year. Up to this point, the functionality that you've seen that Emily walked us through is all part of the core functionality within myLDR. The signature suite is an add-on service, and we'll walk through the details of it here briefly, but it gives you the ability to digitally sign those documents. It'll put the name, title, and date right on the document itself, provides documentation of those notifications. So if you're using IDR and you sent notifications to your participants, you can, with Signature Suite, you can generate a report showing those notifications, and that really makes it a full and very smooth digital process. And the
David, I'm sorry, but it appears that you may not be sharing. Can you share again?
Yes, thank you.
I think the poll question is still, yeah. Okay, thank you. There we go. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. So if we go back to the main reports page here, you can see first by selecting to filter for your Form 5 reports, the time period, then you'll generate that list of Form 5s, and simply clicking on the title for one of your Form 5s will open up a window that allows you to sign the document. So in the top left, you'll see a sign button. Once you click on the sign button, you'll get a confirmation request asking if you're intending to sign the document. And then secondly, item 5 here, let's say, for example, you've got 30 of these that you're going to knock out. You don't want this pop-up to happen every time. So this allows you to disable the pop-up on the confirmation and it'll just be a click to sign capability. So you'll be sure to want to use that if you're working with a large group of documents that you're signing. And once that's done, in the lower right here where the number 1 is, you can see that there's a column which is last signed by, and it'll have the first initial and last name of the individual who signed that document. So it's very easy to see the documents which have been signed. You can filter for the signed ones or the not signed ones as well. Now, secondly, we have a method that allows people with even higher number of Form 5s or participants to be able to sign the reports in a bulk fashion. And so, again, similar to all the other processes, you'll want to filter for your Form 5s for the specific time period. And then we'll move into the download capability. So hitting the tick mark on the left next to the report word, that'll activate the tick box for all of the files that you have on the screen. You can then choose to download those in different formats by account, by sub-account. And by virtue of having downloaded those documents, the system recognizes that you're reviewing those documents, and it then enables you to have a simple one-click sign for each file right on the right-hand side. So you can just go through and click those individually, and you'll be on your way to having all of your documents signed. Next, the signature suite provides notifications for those published or notified participants. So as Emily walked through, using the IDR, generating those notifications, sending those out to participants, when you sign up for the signature suite, it generates also this tab at the top of the reports page. And by clicking on the notifications here, you'll be able to see all of the notifications that have been sent by report type. You can see here, if I want to go just for my annual Form 5s, I can pull up a list of Form 5 notifications for a specific time range, and then I can export that. So for your audit records or your inspection records, you can have a PDF showing that you notified these individuals about their Form 5 on a specific date. There's also here is visibility to any notifications which may have failed. Failure could be, and is probably most typically associated with, an email address, but there's visibility here as well for that. All right, and then finally, we want to walk through a little bit of the subscribing to the signature suite. And it looks like this slide may have a bit of a bug on it, but what you'll want to do is first choose to click on the signature plus signature here. That will drive you to a pop-up and allow you to first watch a video, understand the capabilities for Signature Suite, and then also explore pricing. And once you click on explore pricing, you'll see a list of all of your accounts. You can add this to one account or to all accounts. Relatively inexpensive. It is 10 cents per month per participant, and I think $1.20 a year in total. Once you confirm the subscription, you will have functionality immediately. So this gives you instant gratification. You've got the functionality right away. And with that, I will pause. That's the functionality we wanted to walk through with the team. And I think we want to transition then into some of the questions that we're getting.
All right, wonderful. Thanks, David and Emily. Our first question is IDR SS the same as myLDR SS?
So IDR access is related to myLDR. It's a very good question. The access for a participant is based on their email address, though. And so the system will send a link to their email, and that's all they have to have. They don't have to have credentials for myLDR. They will not see any of the lists of participants or any of the other data, or even a user interface that resembles myLDR. It's strictly a private portal for that individual based on their email address.
Okay, great. Lillian is asking, when clicking on Form 5s, is there a way to search by name? Emily, can you address that?
Yep, I'm wondering, I've added a lot of answers there. Are those able to be seen there, Edna?
It all depends on how you included your response.
So
Yeah.
yes, once you select the Form 5 report option from the report type, you'll be able to add a filter for the participant name among many other fields as well.
Okay, great. Thank you. Let's see, another question related to IDR. What is the right email address to use for IDR?
Yeah, we recommend to use a personal email address if possible. The reason is that the participant can continue to access the portal as long as they have access to the email which is associated with it. And therefore, it's great for travel techs who give you a personal email address. It's great when somebody leaves employment because they can log in and get their dose history and their information without having to call back to the RSO team for information as well. We do realize that there is some challenges to getting personal emails. So if all you have is work emails, that's a great place to start. And then possibly if somebody leaves employment, you can update their email address for a personal one at that point.
Okay, great. Let's see. Richard is requesting, when publishing documents to the IDR, do participants see only their specific data, or do they have access to all data associated with that document?
Yeah, very good question. So when you publish a document, it creates a simple email with a link for the participant. Once they link in and log into the IDR, they can see their dose history and their lifetime dose, but then there's a separate section for reports, and that's where they'll be able to see if there's a Form 5 report that you published.
Okay. Two more questions. Let's see. Is there a process in Signature Suite for LARA warnings?
So the ALARA notifications are available in myLDR under the report section. Today they're considered a report type. So you can filter for the ALARA notifications, and you can then review and sign those using the Signature Suite.
Okay.
We are working on a new process for making that a full digital process as well. So adding a little bit more flexibility to it.
Okay. One more question. Caitlin is asking, is there a way to modify the Form 5 data after the report was created?
No, there's not. That's a static report. I will say if you think there's a dose error and you need to submit a dose correction, then you would contact the Landauer technical team for a dose correction request.
Okay, great. So we're actually at time. I just want to say thank you to Emily and David for presenting today, and we hope you're able to join us for future sessions. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Bye.